Hello students, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we will study specific heat capacity and heat capacity. I hope that all of you have studied or you have seen the previous video, and I got a very good response with the welcome video and the first video of class 10. Hopefully this continues, and so let's start with the lecture number 2. So today's topic is about what? It's about specific heat capacity. But before starting with the specific heat capacity, we will start with the heat capacity. We will start with heat capacity. Once we understand heat capacity, then we can understand the specific heat capacity also. So let's understand this heat capacity let's start with like this. What is heat capacity? It is the amount of heat. It is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of a body by 1 degree centigrade. So what is the heat capacity? To raise it from, say, a body is there at 30 degrees centigrade. A body is there at 30 degrees centigrade, this body. Now to make this body go at 31 degrees centigrade, to increase the temperature by 1 degree centigrade or 1 Kelvin, so same thing. To make it from 30 to 31, I need what? I need to put heat. I need to put heat to this body, and by putting heat only, then the body will have certain kind of internal energy changes, and that internal energy change will result to rise of temperature from 30 to 31. Now the amount of heat I will provide, amount of heat I will provide. Suppose I provide this Q amount of heat. This Q amount of heat required to raise the temperature from 30 to 31, that is 1 degree rise of temperature. That is known as heat capacity. So for over here, say, let's take an example, a few examples we'll take, and let's try to understand this thing. Suppose this body from 30 to 31 takes, say, 50 joule. So to rise a temperature, that is delta T, I made you understand what is delta T, that is final minus initial, T2 minus T1. Suppose this is T2, this is T1. So delta T is equal to T2 minus T1. Delta T is always, remember, delta T is always higher value of temperature minus lower value of temperature. Not final minus initial. Normally in physics we take final minus initial, but if we take final minus initial, sometimes we get a negative. And with negative numbers, negative temperature, things becomes quite the opposite. So we will always take bigger minus smaller. We want this value of delta T to be always in positive. So always take bigger minus smaller, not final minus initial. That will be getting wrong. So delta T is equal to how much over here? 31 minus 30, that is 1 degree centigrade. To change the temperature by 1 degree, how much heat? That is Q. Q represents the amount. Q represents heat. Amount of heat is equal to how much? 50 joule. So heat capacity, which is represented by, I'm writing over here, which is given at C, it is denoted by the letter C, is how much? Q by delta T. This is the formula. C is equal to Q by delta T. So what is Q? Q is the amount of heat, 50 joule. And to raise the temperature by how much? 1 degree. 1 degree centigrade. So this is C. So C becomes how much? 50 joule. 50 by 1 is 50, and joule, this is how much? Per degree centigrade. So value of C is how much? 50 joule per degree centigrade. Means what? 50 joule required to 50 joule of heat required to increase the temperature by 1 degree per degree. Per degree means 1 degree. So 50 joule per degree means 50 joule per 1 degree. Let's understand this thing by one more way. let's take a body. Let's take a body or whatever. It is at 30 degrees centigrade, which is the value of T1, and it has to go to a temperature, say it is going to a temperature of 45 degrees centigrade. So this is how much? T2. T2. And to go from 30 degrees centigrade to 45 degrees centigrade, I need a heat of say 250 joule. So what is the heat capacity? What is the heat capacity? My question is to find the value of C. C represents heat capacity. Now see, delta T is how much? Delta T is final minus initial. So it is 45 minus 30. So delta T is equal to 15 degrees centigrade. That is the change of temperature. And this change of temperature, to bring a change of temperature 15 degree, how much heat I should provide? I should provide a heat of 250 joule. So let's take a different number, okay? Because this 250 won't cancel quite easily. Let's take a different number. Take 300. Take 300 joule. Now to change the temperature by 15 degrees centigrade, I need how much? 300 joule of heat. So see, 300 joule of heat if I give to this body, say this body, then the body changes from a temperature of 30 degrees centigrade to 45 degrees centigrade. So a change of 15 degree is observed when I put 300 joule of heat to the body. But specific heat capacity says what? Specific heat capacity says I need that amount of heat for only 1 degree, not 15 degree. Specific heat capacity has specially mentioned that my change of temperature should be 1 degree. So think, you use unitary method. For 15 degree, you have 300 joule. So for 1 degree centigrade, how much you will have? 300 by 15. 300 by 15. That is equal to 20 joule or not? So for 15 degrees centigrade, we have 300 joule. So for 1 degree centigrade, we have how much? 20 joule. And this 20 joule represents how much? C. Okay, so it is nothing but 20 joule per degree centigrade. So this for 1 degree centigrade, we require a heat of 20 joule. That can be represented as what? 20 joule per degree centigrade. And that is the value of C. You can go by this unitary method, or if you can want, you can directly approach this method. What method? Just the formula which I have stated. Formula what I have stated is what? C is equal to Q by delta T. Use this formula. Also you get the same answer. So C is equal to Q. Q is how much? Q is 300. And delta T is how much? 15. This value and this value, not this and this. So 15. So C value is how much? 20. And the unit of C is how much? Is what I've told you. Think, it is joule and it is per degree centigrade. So it is joule per degree centigrade. So 220 joule per degree centigrade. So for 1 degree centigrade change, it requires a heat of 20 joule. For 2 degree centigrade, 40 joule. For 3 degree centigrade, 60 joule. So like that you think. So I think you understood the meaning of heat capacity. So the amount of heat required to change the temperature by 1 degree. 1 degree temperature change के लिए कितना heat देना पड़ेगा? Okay, that is called a heat capacity. Now, if you observe about what I have written, I have nowhere mentioned till now anything about the mass of the body. I have nowhere mentioned, because in heat capacity, we are not concerned with the mass. Okay, if we are not concerned with the mass, so think, if I have a small body, for 1 degree centigrade, it will require small heat. If I have a little big body, for 1 degree centigrade, we require a little big heat, more heat. If we have a very big body, say a body of say 100 kg, okay, that 100 kg body, if I want to change the temperature by 1 degree, then it requires a lot of heat. So heat capacity actually then what? Depends on mass. Depends on mass. We have never mentioned about mass over here. That means what? That means that doesn't mean that it's independent on mass. That means it depends on mass. Small body for 1 degree, small heat required. Big body for 1 degree centigrade, it requires big heat, large amount of heat. So don't think in the formula we don't have mass. Doesn't mean it depends, it's independent on mass. It depends on mass. So heat capacity I can write, it depends on the mass of the body. If the mass of the body is very big, then it might not be 20, it might be 200. If the body is very, very big, it might be 20,000 joule per degree. Okay. I'll get to this in more in detail once I teach you the specific capacity. Then I will compare and I will explain you this heat capacity and specific heat capacity. Now our next topic is what? Specific heat capacity. So what is this specific heat capacity? What is this specific heat capacity? It is the amount of heat required. It is the amount of heat required to change the temperature of the body, to change the temperature of the body by temperature of a body, to change the temperature of a body of unit mass by 1 degree centigrade. Think. So what is the extra thing I added? When the word specific came, I added the word unit mass. See the difference. Heat capacity doesn't have unit mass. Specific capacity has unit mass. Now let me explain you with this example. Small example I will take to explain you. Say a body of mass 5 kg. Say a body of mass 5 kg wants to change the temperature. Initially it is at 20 degrees centigrade. Okay, initially it is at 20 degrees centigrade. Now it has to increase to 25 degrees centigrade. So a body of mass 5 kg has to increase the temperature from 20 degrees centigrade to 25 degrees centigrade. And the amount of heat required to do this is say 400 joule. Okay. So see, what is the mass of the body? Mass of the body is 5 kg. What is the delta T? Delta T means change. Is how much? 25 minus 20. That is equal to 5 degrees centigrade. So a body of mass 5 kg changes the temperature by 5 degrees centigrade, and the amount of heat required is how much? 400 joule. But if you look at this definition, do I need for 5 kg or do I need for 1 kg? See, unit mass. If it says unit mass, means what? I need only for 1 kg. Unit ka matlab, unit means 1. Always unit means 1. So a body of mass not 5 kg, I will take what? 1 kg. 1 kg changes the temperature by 5 degrees centigrade, then the amount of heat required will be how much? For 5 kg, 5 degree it requires 400, but for 1 kg, 5 degree it will require how much? 400 by 5. So it becomes 400 by 5, which is equal to 80 joule. So if the mass of the body from 5 kg changes to 1 kg, the amount of heat required also changes from 400 to 80. Now again see, the change of temperature is how much? 1 degree. They are saying don't do it for 5 degree. I want it for 1 degree. Always unit temperature, unit mass. But I have for 5 degree. I have changed from 5 mass. I have got from 5 to 1. But what about this change? I have to also make this not 5 degree. I have to make this 1 degree. Now think, a body of mass 1 kg changes the temperature by 1 degree centigrade, not 5 degrees centigrade, by 1 degree centigrade. Then the amount of heat required is how much? Again you divide 80 by 5. You divide 80 by 5 and that gives you how much? 16 joule. 16 joules. So a body of unit mass increases the temperature by 1 degree, then the amount of heat required is how much? Then the amount of heat required is this 16 joule. So my 16 joule is the specific heat capacity of this body. So my specific heat capacity of the body is 16 joule. Think in this way. Okay, so in one step, if I have to do in one step, so for a body of mass 5 kg changes the temperature by 5 degrees centigrade, amount of heat required is 400 joule. But according to the statement of specific heat capacity, according to the statement, now I haven't made this statement. This statement is made by the person who have like the authority to make this kind of rules and all these things. I haven't made. According to the rules that is made by them, they are saying that use the body mass as 1 kg and use the change of temperature as 1 degree centigrade. So what it becomes? So 400 joule gets divided by 5 for this and also gets divided by 5 for this. So as if you solve the whole thing, it becomes 16 joule. If you happen to understood, then let's take one more example to make you understand in a better way. If you happen to understood this example, then good, or you can try with this example also. Say a body of mass, let's take a body of mass, say 4 kg this time, changes the temperature, okay, goes from the temperature of 36 degrees centigrade to 45 degrees centigrade, and the amount of heat required for the body to go from this temperature to this temperature, let's take it as 36, it's 360. Let's take something like 360 joule. Okay, amount of heat required is 360 joule. Are you understanding? A body of mass 4 kg changes the temperature from 36 to 45, amount of heat required is 360 joule. Now what is the mass? 4 kg. What is the delta T over here? 9 degrees centigrade. And what is the amount of heat required? 360 joule. But the definition says, no, I need it for 1 kg unit mass. The definition says that the delta T shouldn't be 9 degrees, the delta T should be 1 degree. Then you calculate the heat. So the amount of heat required will be how much? 360. Now see, use unitary method. For 9 degree it is 360. So for 1 degree how much? 360 by 9. Again use. For 4 kg it is 360. So for 1 kg will be how much? 360 by 4. 360 by 4. And solve this thing. It is how much? 10 joule. If you solve this, it becomes 10 joule. So for a body of mass 1 kg, changing the temperature by 1 degree centigrade, amount of heat required is how much? 10 joule. Did you understood? And this 10 joule is called specific heat capacity. Okay. Now let's study in details about this. I think you understood this part. So if I have to find a formula for this, then the formula becomes C dash. C dash is what? C dash denotes specific heat capacity. And previously it was C. C denotes heat capacity. C dash denotes specific heat capacity. So C dash formula is how much? C dash formula is Q by M into delta T. This is the formula. Means what? The previous example that I have taken. Previous example, what was the mass? Mass was 4 kg. Delta T was, I think it was going from 36 to 45. So delta T becomes 9 degrees centigrade. and the amount of heat required is how much? 360 joule. Now use this formula to get the value of C dash. So C dash is how much? Q, 360. Mass 4, delta T is how much? 9. So C dash is how much? Calculate. 10. This is becoming 10. 10. Now see the units. What is the unit of a C dash? What is the unit of specific heat capacity? What is this? 360 is what? Joule. So on the top what we have? Joule. What is this 4? kg. And what is this 9? 9 is degree centigrade. That is none. So 360 is joule, 9 is degree centigrade, and this 4 is kg. Wait. Kg 4. So that is why I've just taken the units joule, kg, and degree centigrade. So if I happen to solve this unit, what I will get? Joule per kg per degree centigrade. Joule per kg per degree centigrade. So you can write like this. It's better you write like this, okay? For the exam purpose, you write like this. It is joule per kg, okay? Kg to the power of -1, and per degree centigrade. Joule per kg per degree centigrade. So the unit of C dash, that is specific heat capacity, is what? 10. After that 10, what will you write? Joule per kg per degree centigrade. Understood? So this is what? Specific heat capacity. Now see, does specific heat capacity depends on mass? Although we have a mass in the formula, does it depends on mass? Say, I have stated every body has its own specific heat capacity. Say for example, I have stated that the specific heat capacity of water, is 4200 joule per kg per Kelvin. So it does not specific capacity, does it depends on mass? That means what? This is 4200 joule per kg means what? 1 kg, and per Kelvin means what? 1 Kelvin. Think, does it depends on mass? Does it depends? Answer is what? No, it does not depend on mass. Why it doesn't depend on mass? Because in specific heat capacity, I have made my mass equal to 1 kg, and that never changes. According to the statement, it is unit mass. So I will never change this mass of 1 kg, whatever substance I take. I make sure that the specific heat capacity is always calculated for 1 kg. So if I am taking my mass as 1 kg and that I have made it for every substance, then how does it depends on mass? It never depends on mass, because I made my mass as this much only, 1 kg. I am not increasing my mass, neither I am decreasing my mass. Mass is 1 kg, and this 1 kg body will take 4200 joule of heat. So specific heat capacity doesn't depends on mass, whereas heat capacity previously, which before this what I taught you, that was depending on mass, because over there nowhere was mass, nowhere any mass was mentioned. So I can take the mass little bit, I can take the mass this much, I can take the mass this much. If I have this much of body, then I require this much of heat. If I have this much of body, then I require this much of heat. If I have this much of body, I require this much of heat. But in specific heat capacity, this one, I made my mass 1 kg, and this I cannot change. So this 1 kg body will always take exact that amount of heat only. So it does not depends on mass. Why? Because the mass is fixed to 1 kg. So specific heat capacity of water is how much? 4200 joule per kg per Kelvin. I think you understood this part. Say, I want you to do this sum once, okay? Huh? And if you are watching my video, I want you to write the answer in the comment section. What will be the answer for this? A body of mass 6 kg, a body has a mass of 6 kg, changes the temperature from say 23 degrees centigrade to 31 degrees centigrade. Okay, so the temperature changes from 23 to 31, and the amount of heat required to go from 20 to 31, I am giving this as 240 joule. 240 joule. Now, what is the specific heat capacity of this body? What is the value of C dash? Please answer this question and write the answer in the comment section. I want the answer with the correct unit also. Correct unit. Okay, correct unit. So, after getting the answer, you have to mention the unit. Now, you understood this part? 6 kg, 23 degrees centigrade. Now, suppose I happen to do a sum like this. Just for one small thing I wanted to. A body of mass 2 kg changes the temperature, say now from 25 degrees centigrade to 20 degrees centigrade, and the amount of heat required to change this temperature from this to this, say it is 150 joule. Now they are asking me, suppose say C dash. They are asking me specific capacity. Means what? Specific capacity means what? For the body of mass 1 kg for 1 degree centigrade, then how much I require? See, your mass has no problem. What is the delta T over here? Calculate delta T. Now delta T, I told you, it is not final minus initial, it is big minus small. So delta T is 25 minus 20. So 25 minus 20. So for this only I did the sum. Don't subtract 20 minus 25. Then you will get the temperature as minus 5. And minus 5 of temperature is not accepted. So you always do bigger minus smaller. And Q is how much? 150 joule. Same thing. Okay. Now what is C dash? It is amount of heat required by mass into delta T. So amount of heat required is how much? 150. Amount of mass is how much? 2 kg. Delta T is how much? 5 degree. So it is 15 joule per kg per Kelvin. Means what? For a body, for this body, if the mass is 1 kg, if I have to increase the temperature or decrease the temperature by 1 Kelvin, it actually requires 15 joule of heat. So for 1 kg, for 1 Kelvin, how much the heat? That is known as specific heat capacity. Okay. Now over here you tell me to a body over here is absorbing heat or releasing heat. Think, the body over here is absorbing heat or releasing heat. It is going from 25 to 20. So the body is decreasing the temperature. And how the body can decrease the temperature? If it releases all the heat from the body. So the body is not absorbing the temperature. Over here the body is actually releasing the the body is not absorbing heat. The body is releasing heat over here. The body is actually releasing heat. Because over here 15 joule per kg per Kelvin. This indicates what? The body of mass 1 kg to decrease the temperature by 1 Kelvin. A body of mass 1 kg to decrease the temperature by 1 Kelvin, the body will release, okay, 15 joule, not absorb. Over here it is released because temperature is decreasing. I hope you understood. Now the next topic, relation between heat capacity and specific heat capacity. What is the relationship between both of them? Relationship means I need a relationship between C and C dash. Between this C and C dash, I need to establish a relationship. So how am I going to do that? First, what is C? C is heat capacity. And what is the formula for heat capacity? Q by delta T. And what is the formula for C dash? C dash is nothing but Q by M into delta T. This is the formula we have learned. This is the formula for heat capacity and this is the formula for specific capacity. Just before I proceed, again want to repeat, heat capacity depends on mass. It depends on mass. Over here you are thinking, you might be thinking, in this formula there is no mass, so it is independent on mass, and this formula has the mass and that is dependent on mass. But in actual it is just the opposite. It is just the opposite. It has no mass in the formula, so it depends on mass. It depends on mass, because if I have no mention of mass, so means what? Mass can be 1 kg, 2 kg, 3 kg, 4 kg, 10 kg, 100 kg, and more the mass, more the heat will be absorbed. So as there is no mention of mass, it depends on mass. And since over here it is mentioned as mass, means what? As I put the mass now 5, so I calculate it for 1 kg. I always calculate this value of specific capacity for 1 kg. So as the mass remains constant, so it is independent on mass. It does not depends on mass. So it does not depends on mass. It depends on mass. Very, over the years I have seen this confusion happens to start, confuse the children's. This confusion happens to become a very big part of the students in this chapter, which depends and which does not depend. So try to understand by a simple logic. I'll give you a simple logic before I go. I'll give you a simple logic. 5 kg rice cost 100 rupees. 6 kg rice cost 120 rupees. 7 kg will cost 140. So you can see over here, as the mass increases, my price also increases. So this price over here, that represents heat capacity. So that represents heat capacity, means what? C. But if you consider 5 kg of a body, 5 kg rice is 100 rupees. So what is the cost of 1 kg? 1 kg is 20 rupees. Over here also 6 kg is 120. So 1 kg is equal to 20 rupees. So the price of 1 kg body never changes. 1 kg is always fixed to 20 rupees. Now as you take more and more amount, your price also increases. So over here, your 1 kg is 20 rupees, that is fixed. But as you take more and more of rice, your the amount you have to pay, that increases. So this 20 rupees denotes C dash, means what? It indicates specific heat capacity, means what? This is the fixed, because I have made my mass fixed 1 kg, so the price also becomes fixed. But over here mass increases, price increases, so that indicates specific, that indicates heat capacity. So heat capacity, these values depends on mass. As my mass increases, the value also increases. But this value is independent on mass, because the mass always is measured for 1 kg. So 1 kg is 20 rupees. So this value never depends on mass, because this mass is always 1 kg mentioned. So this is one way you can get the difference between C and C dash. Now C is this and C dash is this, right? Now I have to establish a relationship between both of them. Can I write this formula like this way? C dash is equal to Q by M into 1 by delta T. Can't I write this formula as this way? I can write. Now think, can I write this formula in this way? Q by M into delta T. Think, can't I write this formula in this manner? I think you know a little bit of maths also, because you can write this relation formula in this way also. And after this, what is Q by M? Sorry, I made a... Just a second. One small mistake. Can I write this formula as this way? Q into delta T into 1 by M. Can I write? specific heat capacity formula, which I got it as this way. I can write. Now, can I write this formula in this way? Q by delta T by M. I can write this formula as this way also. I can write. Now, I know Q by delta T is how much? Q by delta T is C. I know Q by delta T is heat capacity. So, what I will write? C dash is equal to Q by delta T is how much? C, and niche and down M. So, I can say over here, C is equal to M into C dash. Means what? Heat capacity is equal to mass into specific heat capacity. So I can say what is the relationship? Heat capacity is equal to mass into specific heat capacity. So this is the ultimate relation between heat capacity and specific capacity. So heat capacity and specific capacity relation is like this way. I think you understood. Look at this thing. So this is clear. So after this there comes a part. This part is known as difference between heat capacity and specific heat capacity. Difference. So I'll write heat capacity and write specific heat capacity. I have to find the difference. See, the first difference is always its definition. Okay, I have written in the notes. First difference is always the definition. So definition and definition. So what is the definition? I'm not writing because it's very big. Definition is what? Heat capacity. Amount of heat required to raise the temperature of the body by 1 degree. Specific capacity. Amount of heat required to raise the temperature of a body of unit mass or 1 kg mass by 1 degree. So this is the definition, is the first difference. Second difference. It depends on mass. Yes, it depends on mass. It depends on mass. More the mass, more the heat capacity. Okay. But specific capacity is what? Independent on mass. Because I kept my mass as 1 kg constant. So 1 kg will never become anything else. 1 kg will remain 1 kg. So it is independent upon mass. Third thing, what is the formula of heat capacity? C is equal to Q by delta T. And what is the formula for specific heat capacity? C dash is equal to Q into M into delta T. So the heat divided by the amount of mass divided by the heat rise, change of temperature. So this is the formula. And what is the fourth definition? Heat capacity unit. See, Q by delta T means what? Q represents joule and it is how much? By Kelvin. So it is nothing but joule per Kelvin or joule K. Sorry. It represents joule per Kelvin. And what does over here? Unit. Q represents joule, M represents kg, and this represents Kelvin. So it becomes joule per kg per Kelvin. Okay, so this is the unit of heat capacity, this is the unit of specific capacity, the SI unit. Okay, this is the SI unit. I think you understood this part. Now after this, now let's take some example to make you understand this part. Okay, see, for our syllabus we have to concentrate more on the specific heat capacity. rather than the heat capacity. So the specific heat capacity, C dash means what? So I'm writing specific capacity of copper is 400 joule per kg per Kelvin. Okay, and specific heat capacity of water is equal to 4200 joule per kg per Kelvin. Okay, these are the two values I've taken. Now, by these two values what that I've taken, I want to explain you what. Copper is what? Copper is a good conductor of heat. We know copper is what? A good conductor of heat. Copper is a good conductor of heat. Water is a good conductor? Nah, water is a poor conductor or bad conductor of heat. Poor or bad conductor of heat. Now, what does good conductor of heat means? Means it can rapidly, very fast transfer the heat. So it can rapidly transfer the heat. And poor conductor means what? It can transfer the heat very slowly, not very fast. So very slowly transfer the heat. So I think you understood. So copper is a good conductor of heat. It can transfer the heat very fast, rapidly. So what do you think? You have to imagine, if I have 1 kg copper, and I have to increase the temperature by 1 degree, means from 20 I have to go to 21. Will copper acquire lot of heat? Will copper acquire a lot of heat? No, copper will not acquire a lot of heat. Copper will acquire less heat. That is why, see, 400 is a very less value. So copper, since a good conductor, so it will acquire less heat for the 1 degree, for the rise of temperature of 1 degree. It will acquire little bit of heat because it's a good conductor. So the specific heat capacity value is very less. So very less value of specific heat capacity. You can see 400. On the other hand, water, that is a poor conductor of heat and slowly conducts the heat. So means what? You have to give a lot of heat to that 1 kg body. So if you have a body of 1 kg and you have to increase the temperature by 1 degree, you have to increase the temperature by 1 degree, then you have to give a lot of heat, then only it will rise. So the specific capacity of water is 4200. Means what? That's a very big value. So you understood, a good conductor will have a less value. A bad conductor will have what? High value. Understood? Good conductor, less value. Bad conductor, big value. I think this part you understood. Now, after this, the last thing for today's lecture, you just have to know this thing. 1 joule per gram, 1 joule per gram per Kelvin is equal to 1000 joule per kg per Kelvin. Means what? Just now written what? That the value of copper is how much? 400 joule per kg per Kelvin, right? For copper. Now if I want to convert the same thing in terms of joule per gram per Kelvin, then what I have to do? 1000 becomes 1, so 400 becomes how much? 0.4. Think. You have to divide this by 1000. Divide 400 by 1000 because the value is decreasing. So 1 is 100. So 0.4 will be 400. So for water, just now we got is how much? 4200 joule per kg per Kelvin. That is the specific heat capacity for water. Now I need for not only I don't need for 1 kg. If I need for 1 gram, if I need for 1 gram joule per gram per Kelvin, then what will be the value I will write over here? Think, I will do what? I will divide by 1000 because the value is decreasing. I think you know unitary method. So this becomes how much? 4.2. 4.2. So 1 becomes 1000. So 4.2 becomes 4200. So this way you have to calculate, because in certain sums this is also given, in certain sums this is also given. So you have to know how to go from joule kg Kelvin to joule gram Kelvin, or joule gram Kelvin to joule kg Kelvin. You have to know this conversion for the exam. And last thing, few of the things you have to remember for the exam. These few things: specific heat capacity of ice, specific heat capacity of water, and specific heat capacity of copper. You have to remember this value for the exam purpose. You have to remember this value. So for ice, it is 2.1 joule per gram per Kelvin. For water, it is, just now I told you, 4.2 joule per gram per Kelvin. And for copper, it is 0.4 joule per gram per Kelvin. Okay. Now somebody tells me if I have to convert to joule per kg per Kelvin, so what do? You just multiply this number by 1000. So 2.1 into 1000 is how much? 2100 joule per kg per Kelvin. 4.2 because how much? 4200 joule per kg per Kelvin. And 0.4 becomes how much? 400 joule per kg per Kelvin. So just multiply 2.1 into 1000. You will get in SI unit. So this is the CGS unit, this is the SI unit. So from CGS to SI, multiply by 1000. From SI to CGS, divide by 1000. Okay. Is that okay? So kg actually is kg to gram, gram to kg. So if you have to go from gram to kg, multiply by 1000. If you have to go from kg to gram, divide by 1000. So over here, I finished today's lecture. Today's lecture, if you understood it, very good. If you haven't understood, go through the video once more. Go through this video once more. After that, some notes will be uploaded in Class Dojo. You don't need to write those notes in your fair copy. Read the notes. That will help you in many ways. Read the notes, and after that read your book. Everything in the book only I have written in the notes in a well-defined way, that the important things. So that is why I have given the notes. And see the video once more, and remember that one sum that I have given you. Do that sum and write the answer in the comment section. Okay. So till then, see you, take care, bye. If you do happen to enjoy this video, give a like, and if you haven't yet subscribed, please do subscribe, okay? Because after you will get the notification of the all the next videos. So bye, take care.